Every year, more U.S. police officers die by suicide than from gunshots or car crashes combined. 108 cops took their own lives in 2016, and the number this year is on track to be even higher. Law enforcement advocates call it a silent crisis, but if it doesn't get a lot of attention, it's partially because police rarely speak out about the problem. But in South Carolina, one grieving sheriff is trying to change that.
This is all the badges I've had in my career.
Leon Lott has been in law enforcement for 42 years.
This is the team that we had, and 2 out of this group committed suicide. Wow. This was the 80s and early 90s, and so the culture then is that you didn't talk about suicide, you didn't talk about emotional problems, you didn't show any sign of weaknesses at all.
This summer, he faced something his department hadn't seen in over a decade. One of his deputies committed suicide in his patrol car after work. Derek Fish was 28 when he took his own life in July. He'd been a sheriff's deputy for 6 years, known for his cheerful quirkiness, and nicknamed Nemo by his colleagues.
This is probably going to be one of the hardest press conferences I've ever done in the past 20 years. Probably.
After his death, Lott did something sheriffs almost never do. He went public.
I failed on Friday. My job is to protect these guys. And that's physically and mentally. My job is to protect them and take care of them. It's been kind of been that little hidden secret that we have, so we don't want to talk about it.
Do you think the police departments are behind on that?
Law enforcement resists change. We're big and bad cops. We're not supposed to have emotions. We're not supposed to have feelings. We're not supposed to cry and get upset. You know, that's not us. And I think a lot of law enforcement leaders haven't realized that that's wrong to have that attitude. It's wrong. And an agency is always going to reflect the head of the agency. It's got to start at the top. It can't start from the bottom and go up. It's got to start from the top and go down.
Fish's suicide was especially hard on Lott because he thought he'd been doing everything right.
That program probably saved my life and probably saved my career.
Last year, he started a PTSD program for new recruits, one of the first in the nation, in which veteran officers like Deputy Kelly Hendrick talk openly about their own battles with post-traumatic stress. It's their first time back in the classroom since the death.
I had 2 critical incidents that were 4 months apart from each other. The first one was I was living with another police officer, took my weapon out of my holster and shot himself in front of me. Then in July of 2007, I was involved in an officer-involved shooting. Been through a lot, seen a lot. Over my 13 years, we've lost a lot of good deputies. Lost my sergeant a couple years ago. Ryan Raw got killed in the line of duty. And here just recently, we had Deputy Fish take his own life in this back parking lot back here. So it's been a struggle.
I think if we get to a point where we can release some of that stigma, officers will feel better about talking about things. So things don't build up and become just a mass casualty in their lives. So.
Even in this department, which is pretty advanced, we're not there yet.
No, we're not there. We've still got a lot of work to do, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
At Region 3 headquarters, Fish's colleagues are still trying to process his death. Matt James was with him that day.
Did the situation with Derek hit you hard?
I don't know. It, on one hand it did. I mean, you always go through the evaluation process where you're like, what is my piece in it? On the other hand, I worked with him all day that day, and he handled all of his calls standard. All of his idiosyncrasies were the same. What do you do if someone decides to go that route and they're not looking, they're not making a show about it, they're not looking, it's not a cry for help, it's just a very concrete decision. And, what do you do with that?
This is the challenge facing Sheriff Lott. How do you train your officers to think differently about mental health without overcorrecting or assigning blame?
Is it about preparing the individual officer, or is it about trying to change the entire culture?
It's both. You got to do that. Everybody within that agency's got to buy into it. They've got to accept it. They got to know that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to get the help. And then my kids. See, my job is to take care of them. And I should have done something. I don't know what it was. I can't answer that, but I lost him.